Hello everyone, I am Arpit and I am a trainer for international relations. A very significant event with respect to multilateralism has happened very recently, where the members of developing countries met in Russia, Kazan. Yes, I'm talking about the BRICS summit of 2024. This was a significant event in the international geopolitical arena in the present times. Why? Because the world is undergoing conflicts in Russia and Ukraine. Second, in West Asia. The West's domination is being challenged. And who is challenging it? The developing countries. Developing countries individually, like China, like Russia, like at times India, we challenge. But yes, when we get collectively together, the challenge increases. This is one such significance of this grouping, BRICS. This particular summit of BRICS was also the first summit after its expansion. 2023, the expansion was announced, 6 new countries had to be added. These 6 new countries: UAE, Saudi Arabia, Iran from Asia, Ethiopia, Egypt from Africa, and Argentina from South America. But Argentina in December 2023 said that it is not going to join BRICS. There was a new government over there, and this decision was taken by the new government. Saudi Arabia has not yet given clarity. It has not denied or it has not accepted also, since it was not here in this year's meeting. So we are not counting Saudi Arabia also apart from Argentina as of now a member. Argentina, though, we know that it will not become, but yes, Saudi Arabia can become because it has not given clarity on it. But yes, you know what? Many countries all across the world have expressed their interest to join BRICS. 2023, there was a summit in South Africa where that was called as the Friends of the BRICS Summit, where more than 40 countries expressed their interest to join this grouping. This grouping is basically gaining prominence. This year's summit in Kazan, countries like Turkey, Azerbaijan, and Malaysia attended. All three have expressed their desire to join BRICS. Now, why the popularity of this grouping is increasing, we need to know and understand that as well. See, the developed world is dominating many multilateral organizations like United Nations and its associated systems. Associated systems like World Bank, IMF, WTO, United Nations Security Council, and such like. And the world is fed up with the domination. This domination leads to discrimination against the developing world and the underdeveloped world. So they are looking for alternates. And what is the alternate they've got? They've got BRICS. However, BRICS has said that United Nations is the legitimate authority for managing the world affairs. BRICS is not explicitly challenging United Nations. We need to understand this. But yes, countries are looking towards BRICS because there are certain shortcomings in the existing systems which are dominated by the West. So that is how we need to approach this particular topic. And for approaching this particular topic, we need to know and understand what is the history of BRICS. So, history of BRICS is very, I would say, interesting. Formation of this grouping is basically an outcome of a research paper. A research paper? Yes. A research paper issued by one of the global consulting firms, Goldman Sachs. This research paper was released in 2001 by Goldman Sachs. And in this research paper, it was written that this 21st century is belonging to the BRIC countries. BRIC: Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Because developed countries have reached their saturation And these are the fastest and the biggest developing countries of the world right now, and they will be there in this century. So whatever major economic expansion will happen in these four countries. This raised the eyebrows of the leaders of these four countries. This interested them, no doubt about this fact. And 5 years down the line, in 2006, these leaders met for an informal meeting along the sidelines of United Nations General Assembly. United Nations General Assembly, let me tell you, happens every year in the month of September, New York. So these leaders met in 2006. And 3 years down the line, in 2009, they started this Heads of State and Governments Annual Summits. So the leaders, the heads of the states or the heads of the government, whoever is having real powers of these four countries, they started meeting. 2009 was the first summit. It was in Yekaterinburg, Russia. And 2010, it was decided that South Africa will be joining. So in 2010, South Africa will be joining, it was decided, and it was the second summit. And from third summit onwards, which was there in Sanya, China, BRIC became BRICS. 2011 onwards. 3 years down the line, BRICS inaugurated its financial institutions. Now, like United Nations has its own financial institutions, World Bank and IMF, BRICS also formulated its financial institutions. New Development Bank to fund projects for sustainable development. This is the counterpart of World Bank. World Bank also funds sustainable development projects. Contingency Reserve Arrangement (CRA) to manage liquidity crisis. This is the counterpart of IMF, that is International Monetary Fund. So these two financial institutions were established. Now try to understand that BRICS is trying to project itself at par with United Nations. But BRICS leaders are acknowledging that the global affairs, the legitimate manager or the legitimate authority is lying with the United Nations because there are more number of countries over there. And obviously all these BRICS countries are part of United Nations as well. But yes, they are vocal about the domination of the West over there. Then 2023, the summit was in South Africa, and it was announced that 6 new countries will be joining. These 6 new countries: Iran, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Ethiopia, Egypt, Argentina. So let me highlight one concept of global south over here. Global south is developing plus underdeveloped countries of Asia, Africa, South America. This is actually what Global South is. BRICS already was an organization of the Global South. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, developing countries from these three continents, Asia, Africa, and South America. The new entrants: Iran, Saudi Arabia, UAE, developing countries of Asia; Ethiopia, Egypt, developing countries of Africa; Argentina, developing country of South America. But yes, Argentina said it is not going to be part of BRICS in December 2023. And Saudi Arabia as of now has given no clarity whether it will be or it will not be. Saudi Arabia did not join this year's summit. So we are not so clear about Saudi Arabia joining or not. Benefits and challenges of expansion. What were the benefits? Benefits: increased economic cooperation will be there because there are new members from new geographies. Then BRICS countries are trying to reduce their reliance on US dollar. This is a phenomenon which is going on. And when more and more countries are coming on board, more and more countries will be, of this viewpoint that we want to bypass the dollar. Increased influence in the global economy we can have. So largely, if we see, we had economic benefits. But yes, there were challenges also. There can be challenges due to increased membership. This challenge can be difficult to reach consensus. So consensus reaching will be difficult. This is going to be one such challenge because decisions in BRICS are taken by consensus. Now the BRICS summit of 2024. The Prime Minister Modi attended this October 22 to 24, and this was the first summit after the expansion of the grouping. Expansion of the grouping means UAE, Iran, Ethiopia, Egypt, and आपका this they were added actually. ठीक है, तो Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, and UAE, these four countries were added. Saudi Arabia was not added. Argentina clearly refused. We are not going to be part of it. The theme for this year's meeting was strengthening multilateralism for just global development and security. Just means justiciable. Strengthening multilateralism means we need to strengthen multilateral bodies. We need to do the reforms. And this momentum for doing reforms is increasing day by day. Last year, G20 summit in India, we were very vocal about it. This year's United Nations General Assembly, we were very vocal about it. And now the BRICS theme is about multilateralism and reforming it for a just global development and security. So the concerns, the voice of all should be represented. The global systems should be like this. It should not be only a few voices taking the decisions for the entire world. It should not be this way. And it has been this way. This is the sad part. Other focus areas were, no, they were emphasizing trade in local currencies to bypass dollar. And this dependence on dollar creates a lot of problems for developing and underdeveloped world. They make them more vulnerable because dollar is very volatile. And in the times of geopolitical conflicts, volatility increases, which has a drastic impact, a very negative impact on the developing and underdeveloped world. Obviously, their developmental journey is impacted. Then reaffirmed the central role of United Nations in maintaining international peace and security. We said that central role is of United Nations in maintaining peace and security. United Nations Security Council is there. And we are not here to compete United Nations. This was what they wanted to signify. But yes, United Nations need to do the reforms. United Nations need to do reforms to be relevant. If it wants to remain relevant, it needs to do the reforms. This was the basic, I would say, meaning of this particular thing. So here in this image, you can see 9, pillars standing. We can definitely call them pillar. And this is our pillar, Mr. Modi. So 5 BRICS countries and 4 new members. 4 new members like UAE, Iran, Ethiopia, Egypt. Key points which were discussed. This is basically the Kazan Declaration, we can say. The need for reforms of global institutions. So there is a need for reforms of global institutions. I've been talking about it a lot. Why? Because there is domination of the West. And this domination of the West leaves the developing and underdeveloped world more vulnerable. So there needs to be reforms in Bretton Woods institutions like WTO. There need to be opposition to unilateral measures like unilateral, prohibitive, discriminatory and protectionist measures taken under the pretext of fighting global warming or climate change. Like, for example, European Union, obviously West, it is part of West. West is the developed world of developed world. Now, from January 1, 2025, it is imposing a carbon border tax. Now, what is carbon border tax? It is nothing but an import duty. Import duty for what? Any product which EU is importing from anywhere in the world, if that product has emitted more than the specified limit by EU, then EU will be imposing an import duty on that particular product entering EU market, which will obviously make that product more expensive. And this has been unilaterally taken. This is a prohibitive step. This will not promote trade from developing or underdeveloped world to the developed world, because it is going to make the trade from developing or underdeveloped world less competitive. And then the developing world is saying, Acha, you have done the global warming, you have done climate change, you have developed. Now it is our turn to develop, and you are doing such kind of prohibitive tactics. So everyone is condemning it, especially China and India. Then UN reforms has to be there in the United Nations Security Council and all. Permanent membership has to be increased. This is what India has been saying. And guess what? Two of the UNSC permanent members are here in BRICS. That is Russia and China. Now, a new initiative for collaboration on information and communication technologies has been undertaken. India has the expertise and India can take the lead over here. Enhanced initiative on New Development Bank. New Development Bank is that bank which is giving loans for socio-economic development. Like New Development Bank has given loans to India for Mumbai Metro, for this Delhi Meerut rapid rail transit system. This has been constructed by taking loans from New Development Bank. Loans during COVID were extended. So like this, new technology platform to strengthen development cooperation, including producing high-tech products using domestic technological potential. Then transport and logistics, they are going to collaborate for this also so that their supply chain resilience is there. Coalition or creation of a unified transport and logistics platform. Then a very noble initiative, that is the grain exchange platform, is going to be there. If any grain is in surplus anywhere in the BRICS countries, then that can be supplied to those countries which is wherever it is in deficit. So leaders support Russia's proposal to create a grain exchange to promote rules-based trade in agricultural products and fertilizers and minimize disruptions. So this food trade is very much important. Then we talked about expanding cooperation, use of national currency. So on the internet, there have been, uh, information circulating that BRICS is releasing its new currency. It is not true. It is not true at all. I'm telling you in very, very clear terms. Banknote is also getting circulated where flags of all the 5 countries are there. No, that is fake news. Don't believe that. Ha, these countries are saying that in your respective domestic currencies, we will trade. Like we have a trade agreement with Russia, rupee ruble trade agreement. Whatever imports are coming from Russia, we pay them in rupee or ruble. Similarly, vice versa is also there. So we are not depending on dollar, and we are neither creating a common currency also. Yes, that can be done in the future, but as of now, it is not done. It was talked about only having use of national currencies to bypass dollar. Strategic partnerships have to be increased between the countries, and global south participation has to be there more and more. We have to become a representative of global south, a very big voice of the global south. This is what it meant. Then we opposed global crisis. The world is undergoing many crises, whether it be Russia, Ukraine, whether it be West Asia, whether it be small countries like Haiti and all, they are also under crisis. So everything was talked about. Sudan is under crisis. It was also talked about. So with respect to, first of all, outer space weapons, this is something which is very dangerous. Now, there are many communication satellites and all on which the military depends. And just imagine if our enemy country is destroying those satellites. Will we be able to communicate on the ground? No, our communications will be broken and they will have an edge over us. So countries are thinking in this direction also, and they have developed outer space weapons. They are going to attack each other's space assets, and we condemn this. India has also, developed defense mechanisms against it because that is very crucial, the space assets. So BRICS opposes deployment of weapons in outer space, and we need to look into this. These are those assets which are created by lot of difficulty, especially by developing and underdeveloped world, and these are all developing countries. Then law enforcement cooperation should be there. There's a call for strengthened ties between law enforcement agencies to aid fight against narcotics. Narcotics is becoming a big problem. Then Ukrainian crisis was also discussed. BRICS outlined the positions on Ukrainian crisis and noted proposals for mediation to resolve conflict through negotiations. Now, BRICS has a golden opportunity to mediate and, you know, resolve this crisis. After all, Russia is part of BRICS. Russia-China partnership is increasing. India has always been a good friend of Russia, and Russia is one of the party to the conflict. So BRICS has this golden opportunity to mediate and bring this war to an end. And guess what? If BRICS does it, BRICS will position itself at par, maybe above than United Nations. The legitimacy or the stature of BRICS will increase further in the world. This is what we need to understand and know. Then support for Palestine. This Israel-Palestine conflict is there, and Iran, one of the new participants, was also part of this meeting now. So we talked about this also, and we talked about supporting Palestine, majorly resolving the conflict. Then Haiti, there is a conflict going on in Haiti, where in 2018 there was extreme violence due to rise in oil prices. This led to assassination of the then president. A new interim prime minister was formed, was stated. He is also resigned. But yes, now something has happened. That is, Haitian Transitional Presidential Council has been formed, an electoral council to address the crisis in Haiti. And the demand of the protesters is to have a free and fair elections over there. They are going to happen. Then Sudan. So in Sudan, there is a civil war-like situation going on where the army of Sudan and the paramilitary of Sudan, they are fighting with each other. Aim to occupy power. So imagine in India, Indian Army versus CRPF. It is happening. It is just like that. Then human rights issues. The leaders criticize politicization of human rights and double standards, opposing all forms of discrimination in sports. So this happens. Human rights and all are violated by the developed world also. But when the developing and underdeveloped world violates, they are very vocal against it. So why these double standards? If you have to be vocal, you be vocal against your also, na? When you are violating or when anyone among you is violating. That needs to be understood. Then economic cooperation and local currencies. So cross-border payments and all have to be done, and we have to, adopt local currencies for that. As I just mentioned earlier also, ki bhai, there is no new currency of BRICS which is going to be there. It is just we are going to promote use of more and more local currencies. So BRICS Clear Depository leaders agreed to explore initiatives for economic integration, including establishing a BRICS grain exchange and a BRICS cross-border payment system like the SWIFT system is there. A BRICS cross-border payment system will be there, which will facilitate transfer of payments and settlement of payments. The BRICS grain exchange is going to be there, which will facilitate trade in I would say food products, fertilizers, pesticides and all. BRICS Plus partnership with growing interest from countries in the global south. Leaders endorse the creation of BRICS partner countries category, inviting members like Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia and UAE. So they will be referred to as BRICS Plus. So these are the things which were there with respect to this. Then obviously after COVID, we have lot and lot talked about pandemic preparedness and all. So we talked about pandemic preparedness and environment conservation also in the Kazan Declaration. So health initiatives, the summit emphasized the importance of strengthening health systems through collaboration, supporting the BRICS R&D Vaccine Center and developing an integrated early warning system for infectious diseases. So that last time when this disease got spread too much, then we came to know about it. So that needs to be controlled, that needs to be taken care of. Then leaders recognize the threat of antimicrobial resistance also. What is antimicrobial resistance? You take a lot of antibiotics and let's suppose you got some disease. That disease is due to a bacteria. You take antibiotics after taking and you have doctor tells you that you have to take antibiotics for 5 days. But after 3 days, you are feeling fine. You stop taking antibiotics then. You said, okay, I'm fine. Why should I take? ठीक है, you might be thinking on the right lines, but you are not actually. Now, what happens in 3 days? That bacteria inside your body has become weak. It has not died due to that medicine. And now the bacteria has learned to fight with that medicine because bacteria will also, fight till the end. from the invaders, and invaders is that medicine. But you stop taking that medicine after 3 days. The bacteria, while fighting it, learned how to survive a bit because it did not get killed. Now, the next time when you take that medicine and that bacteria is again causing you that particular disease again, bacteria knows bhai, how to fight with this. Bacteria might not die. Bacteria has become resistant to that antibiotics. Bacteria is a microbe. That is what antimicrobial resistance is all about. And this is going to claim a lot of lives in the 21st century as predicted by the scientists. So, this needs to be taken care of. Then conservation of endangered species, India's initiative to create an international big cat alliance. Big cats, where we will be doing or undertaking efforts to conserve the four big cats. The four big cats like tiger, like cheetah, like the jaguar and leopard. So we are going to partner with the BRICS countries for this also. Membership and expansion. So membership happened, increased 2023, and you know what? India was initially a bit apprehensive about increase of the membership then, because again the challenge is there that we have to there will be more difficulty in achieving consensus. There will be no doubt about the fact, but you know what? Uh, India agreed. India said that okay, expansion should be there, but with consensus. Consensus, it simply means that you expand, you include only those countries which everyone is agreeing to, all the existing members are agreeing to. First of all, the existing members should be agreeing to for expansion. Then, whichever country is being included, all the existing members should be agreeing for the inclusion of that country. Even if one country refuses the inclusion of any particular country, then that country should not be included. As simple as that. So, this was there, and obviously, Pakistan has also expressed its interest. And obviously, India will be blocking Pakistan's proposal. And if India is blocking, one block is enough. So, we said that if further expansion will happen, it will happen through consensus, like it happened in 2023. As simple as that. And China will be doing all or taking all possible efforts for including Pakistan. The same thing happened in SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It was formed in 2001, this particular organization, and it had countries like Russia, China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan as its members, the 6 countries. 2017, first expansion happened, and India and China both were added because Russia was wanting India's inclusion and China was wanting Pakistan's inclusion. Their consensus and all might be there, but I'm not aware about it. But yes, here in BRICS, so definitely it is there. And since Pakistan has not become a part, India was one of the founding members of BRICS, India will not allow Pakistan to come in. So, this is what we need to understand. And after all, these are the world's largest and the fastest developing economies. Does Pakistan fit in this criteria? Well, we all know the answers to this question. Cyber attack incident. So, very, I would say, strange, not so strange, but yes, we can call it strange. Incident happened. And what was this incident? This incident was there was a cyber attack, a denial of service attack on the Russian government on the day of BRICS summit. Denial of service attacks are like those that the any malware gets into your cyberspace and denies you any operation of that particular cyberspace, means you will not be allowed to operate the computers. You'll not be allowed to switch on your computer. As soon as you switch on, a screen will pop up that sorry, you have been hacked. Something like this will happen. And who initiated this cyber attack? Who is against BRICS? Or who is, you know, behind all this? Well, as of now, nothing can be said. It would be too immature to predict anything, or too immature to levy allegations against any country or any region. But yes, BRICS is one such block, or BRICS is one such grouping which the West is not happy about. So I think the fingers are pointed towards the West, but yes, again, it has to be proven first. But what did the West, or what did the attackers wanted to prove by this cyber attack? They wanted to prove that they are, you know, way ahead of BRICS in these kind of technologies, or they wanted to disrupt the functioning of this grouping, this summit which was there. So whatever it was unjust. Nobody interferes in G7 summits from the developing world. We can't do it. We can also do it. In fact, we are more skillful than them in this domain. But yes, the West needs to understand that the world is not going to be run according to their whims and fancies anymore. The West also needs to acknowledge that they need to be less hypocritic. The West needs to acknowledge that there needs to be reforms in the multilateral organizations which are dominated by them. Gone are those days where whatever you said, everyone listened. Now are the days that everyone will listen, but only justifiable things, not unjustifiable things, not those things which donate or denote your dominance. And yes, India, being a developing country, is also against Western domination. You might have seen our Minister of External Affairs being too vocal about it, shutting down the reporters from the West. Yes, it has to be done, but yes, India also is a Vishwamitra. That also needs to be very clear. We do not want to spoil relations with any country or any region. Why would we? But yes, we will also not face discrimination. We will not be at the receiving end. Neither anyone should be. So, this is what and how we need to understand this particular grouping, and this outcome can be significant from two multiple things, or two aspects. First, it is talking about reforms in multilateral institutions. Second, it is talking about bypassing the dollar system and trading in domestic currencies. This or these two aspects are going to intensify in the times to come. So stay tuned, and we will be covering more such important news topics which will be happening all across the world. Namaste. Jai Hind.